State government building. Hundreds and hundreds of CTU teachers. Jesse Sharkey, CTU president. So we're just going to hold a little press conference. They're going to put the mic on the podium here. So we're going to wait for the press conference. Thank you for tuning in here.
Okay, we're going to have a press conference. I can say my voice.
Excuse me.
The spot. I got it. Good job. Let's hope our mic doesn't break down.
You gotta fight for that spot.
I know, it just seems like everyone's both knocked over. What's your plan, man? I'm setting up right next to me. What's wrong?
Hey, CTU! Fill in behind. We don't talk to the press looking like an individual. Come on. Let's go.
Jesse!
This is how we talk to the public. We talk to the public with all of us. Come on, let's go. We talk to the public with all of us.
People behind us.
Let's go together. Fill in. Fill it in. Fill it in.
Around, stand around.
But it's like that.
Check, check.
Obviously, we're going to try to get the discussion about getting back in. At this time, House of Delegates voted the definitive agreement. We're going to have a chance to our 11-day strike.
Test. Here. Go ahead. Which one? Check. Test. Test mic. Testing mics for all. Thank you. Oh. I don't think it's
check. 1, 2.
Count 2 is 2.
Studio, how is the mic?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm shorter than most people, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, that's 1 for our early group.
It's going to be hard to get 11 days back to the
statement and a few questions.
Right, that sounds fine.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to make a short statement and then take a few questions. Remember, is this on? I can't hear you. Yeah, I'm going to talk loud. I'm going to make a short statement and then take a few questions, and then I'm going to go try to have a discussion with the mayor if she'll have one. I'll begin by saying this. Last night, the Chicago Teachers Union's House of Delegates the Chicago Teachers Union's members, our elected representatives of each building, met for, I want to say it was almost 3 hours, and had an incredible and passionate discussion. We had a heartfelt discussion about what we've achieved after more than 2 weeks on strike. And the sentiment out of that body, the vote, by about 60-40, was that we should accept the result of the negotiations. We should say that we have a tentative agreement, and we should return to work in the schools pending one thing. And that one thing is a return to work agreement. So just to be clear then, we believe that there are a number of important achievements in this contract. We think that the agreement on increasing staffing in the schools, on enforceable class sizes in the schools, on a number of other provisions are actually represent better schools, and that we've achieved many of our goals. By far, we did not achieve all of our goals. And people will say there's things that we didn't achieve. And you know, there's a real discussion about that. And I'm not going to say that like ratification is going to be a slam dunk. Ultimately, the members of the CTU, every member of the CTU who works for CPS is going to get a vote. So that hasn't happened yet, and there's going to need to be more debate and more discussion in our schools. But the question that everyone wants to know is, are we ending the strike and returning to work? And the answer to that is, we want to, but there needs to be a discussion about making up some of the instructional time that has been lost. I understand that it's going to be difficult for the mayor and for the people who run the schools to fit 11 instructional days back into the school year. But our strong feeling is that we want to discuss it. It can't be zero. It can't be zero. That's not an acceptable number to us. There's a lot of things that we do as part of our teaching, of our curriculum, that we're mandated by the state to deliver in terms of what we teach and how we teach it. So if it's an AP class or an international baccalaureate class, they've got exams in May. The curriculum is not set by the teacher. That curriculum is set by the state or by a national or international organization. We have work we have to do. You know, I'm not trying to extend the strike indefinitely in order to get more instructional time. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But like right now, if the mayor is willing to discuss this, I'm confident that we can get an agreement in order to get back in the schools. And I'll take a couple questions.
This came out of the mayor said, and a lot of people, even teachers, said this whole demand to go back to work only with the assurance of making up these days came at the very last second. It was not an issue before. And regarding AP testing, said you're never going to be able to make up 11 days before the testing day anyway. So they're going to say, you guys decided to leave in the first place, and now you want those days back?
No, what we're going to say is that we've been negotiating a contract for 10 months. The city chose not to negotiate with us seriously on staffing or class size. You can check the record. We had nothing on staffing and nothing on class size in writing until. Do you want to debate with me? Do you want to come give this press conference, or how do we want to do this? Let me answer the question.
That this came up all of a sudden.
You got to let me answer the question. All right. So the strike did not come up all of a sudden. We have been negotiating a contract for months. When the CTU went on strike, we did not have agreement on certain critical key terms. That's why we went on strike. It is completely standard. It is completely standard in Illinois at the end of a strike to negotiate a back-to-work settlement. And I actually have the numbers if people want to see those numbers.
So why wasn't that brought up?
We've been talking about this, that we're going to need to negotiate a back-to-work settlement at the table for a long time.
What I'm saying is, when your negotiators are at the table at CPS,
I was at the table along with other people.
When you guys are looking through the agreement, the tentative agreement that is being proposed.
No, that wasn't what we did at the table. Let me make the point. I was at the table trying to. Hold on, I'll get you the figures here. Okay. All right. Here, let me give you. Right. So here's the thing: is that I was at the table trying to negotiate with the mayor about what it would take to get a contract, and I told her 5 things, and she came back and said she could do one of those things, and I left that room without a deal. There was not a handshake with the mayor to say, you got a deal, this settles the issues. There was not.
On Tuesday?
Yeah, on Tuesday, that's correct. And in fact, I didn't want to tell you, we returned to the table the next morning What 35 years of data on teacher strikes in Illinois. 35 years of it. Okay, now let's tell you what it says. 107 strikes in the Illinois Federation of Teachers. 915 days on strike. Of that, there had been all but 235 of those days have been made up. 75% of days have been made up by district, and that 75% after 35 years of strikes. And that's basically because every strike, whether it's a teacher strike or not, ends with a return to work agreement. In this case, with teacher strikes in particular, one of the issues there is how you make up instructional time. We're mandated by state, by national and international organizations.
What I want to ask you is, when the tentative agreement, at that point, did someone from your team say, wait a second, where is the return to work agreement? That should be in here. Did that conversation come up?
The tentative agreement is first arrived at the negotiating table, and it's not an official document until our House recommends it. And at the table, when we're finalizing terms, we say, here are written terms on a return to work agreement. At which point, the city's negotiator said, we can do 1, 2, and 3, but we're a hard no on restoring any days. The mayor has been saying this.
What is 1, 2, 3?
I mean, the typical things in a return to work agreement have to do with dropping unfair labor practices against one another, people returning to work without retribution or disciplinary consequences during the strike, etc.
When was this written proposal handed over? The mayor saying just a short time ago that the first time she was hearing of this was last night when you spoke.
Yeah, look, just because the mayor doesn't know how teachers' negotiations work, I don't know what to say about that. It's a standard part of every teacher's negotiation that there's been over the course of this entire state for the last 35 years. And her attorney knows it full well, because she has an attorney who's been negotiating this stuff since the mid-1980s. So,
address the perception that a lot of teachers that I have talked to and a lot of parents have that this was a last hour goalpost. No.
That's just simply not true. The question of how we get back into the schools is part of the negotiations, and it's standard. Just because the mayor has been going around for the last 4 weeks saying, I'm not doing nothing, the mayor said a lot of things that she's not going to do that she's subsequently turned around and done. Right? I mean, let me finish the point. The mayor said the class size and staffing don't belong in the contract. That was her words. You can go back and look up the quotes. They don't belong in a contract. I'm not putting it in a contract. It's in a contract now. The mayor said she's not putting any more money into the contract. It's in a contract now. So you have to excuse me if I wasn't sure if the public rhetoric about not making up days, to me that just sounded like the mayor trying to be punitive. This isn't about punishing teachers. Teachers have had a lot of. This has not exactly been easy, and nor am I saying. And I want to make it clear. The mayor is saying zero. I'm not doing any of this. We're not saying. We don't think that it's probably not going to be feasible to make up 11 days. It's a lot of days to shove into a school calendar. But I'll discuss it, and we'll find a number that we can make a compromise on in order to get the schools back running again.
So are you willing to make maybe like compromise to making like 4 days or 5 days, like less?
I will discuss it, and be willing to make a compromise about a number of days that makes sense, so that we can get instruction restored, so that we can deliver the curriculum that we're required to deliver by law, and that we can get people back in school. We want to do that as quickly as possible. That's why we're here. Okay? Thank you. That's Chris. Chris, we said 2 questions. That's it. I got it.
What's it going to take to close this deal? When's it going to happen?
I hope it happens right now. I mean, it's going to take a conversation. One of the things that is obviously upsetting to me is the representation that I'm not good with my word. Is the idea that somehow we met and we had an agreement to resolve the issues. We never did. I asked for a series of things. I said that the schools needed to deal with class size. I said the schools needed to deal with pay for our veteran teachers. I said the schools needed to deal with preparation time. I said the 5-year contract was a problem, and we wanted to talk to the mayor about legislation that could deal with the elected school board and loss of our bargaining rights. So we talked to the mayor about those 5 things. We said that's what we need to get to land a contract. And the mayor came back and said, I'll give you one of those things. I can do something with you for veteran pay. And so we didn't walk out of that room happy. We didn't walk out of that room with a deal. And now the idea that somehow we had a deal and that like the union went back on it, nothing could be further from the truth. And in addition to that, I'm telling you that for 35 years, across more than over 100 strikes, negotiating return to work agreements is completely standard, and I just think it's both fair for students, and there's lots of ways to compromise on this. So let's get the schools back. Last question. Last question. I'm going to go try to talk to the mayor. Thank you. Go ahead.
The mayor's understanding is that right now CPS would not need to make up any school days to stay within state compliance. Is that different from?
That is different from my understanding, yeah. The school code says 176 days. The school code has got a number of different features, which I don't want to get into, but like our understanding is that they would need to seek a waiver, which they have not gotten, according to the people who I talked to from ISB. And my other understanding is that maybe they think that somehow the new funding formula, which has a hold harmless provision, would keep them from losing funding because of the loss of student days, and that's not our understanding of the school code either. So according to our best research through the Illinois Federation of Teachers, the district would lose funding. So I don't know why we'd want to punish students and ourselves in order to like make teachers pay a price. We're, like I said, we'll open for discussion about how this lands, but we think we've got a fair agreement. Let's get an agreement on it and get back to work. Let's have a rational discussion and try to make some compromise. Thank you.
All right, everyone, again, thank you for joining Unicorn Riot this morning here at the Thompson Center, downtown Chicago, Illinois. I'm trying to get out of this herd of reporters here. All right.
You know you're doing journalism.
It's right across the street from City Hall here at the Thompson Center State Government Building. Jesse Sharkey, the president of the CTU, just held a press conference and updated the press, CTU's perspective of what is going on with the negotiations and the teachers' strike. Last night, the CTU House of Delegates met at the CTU headquarters. We were out front live as they came out to make the announcement. If you didn't catch that last night, the House of Delegates and CTU had a tentative agreement. There was a majority in the House that voted a tentative yes to the proposal put on the table yesterday from the city and the mayor. The tentative agreement, basically they would accept it as long as the mayor would make up the missed, at that point, 10 days of class time. Teachers saying that they have state curriculums and other needs that they can't afford to miss these days with the time spent with the kids. It's not about necessarily them. They're saying it's about making sure they have enough time spent with the kids in the year, and they don't want this to punish the kids. The mayor last night said, after the press conference of CTU, there's absolutely no way, and we're going to walk this way here, there's absolutely no way, it's a non-starter of making up these days, just not doing it. We heard today, Mayor Lori Lightfoot just held a press conference, and from what I heard, it seems like the mayor is willing to bargain or negotiate a few days. So she's no longer saying no days. What she said today was all 10 days or 11 days now, making those up is a no-starter. So her language has changed overnight. So I'm assuming the president of the CTU and some of the other negotiators are going to meet back with the mayor's people probably now or probably just shortly. And hopefully we'll hear some more news, and of course we will update you here on Unicorn Riot when we hear it. Right now, everybody that was just at the Thompson Center, which are hundreds and possibly into the thousands of CTU members, it looks like, it's hard to get a good estimate now, just lots of people, are now marching the street away from the Thompson Center. We're right alongside City Hall at the moment. They have taken the street, and they're still filing out of the Thompson Center. Lots of people. You all probably heard more in this recent press conference than I did. I was having trouble hearing what Jesse and some of the reporters were asking. But a lot of the contention with the reporters, they keep bringing up the city's talking points regarding that these makeup days. Sorry, hold on one second. Never mind. So when we first got here, we thought people were going to be in City Hall or at City Hall. City Hall's wide open. People just marching right by right now. Oh yes, but back to sorry, what I was saying. The mayor and her people are saying that this point of the makeup days, they brought up at the last minute, a negotiation point at the last minute, and what we heard just from the CTU president Jesse Sharkey that, I mean, this isn't like a point like money or the other things they've been fighting for that they've been, this is kind of by the time the strike is over, there's going to be X days missed, and it has been standard practice in the last 2 strikes to make up at least some of the missed days. That's part of the going back to work agreement. It's not part of the negotiating necessarily of the contract. It's part of the return to work agreement. We're hearing conflicting reports from both sides. Mayor's verbiage changed overnight, which seems to be pretty common practice since we've been in town and monitoring things here. So we're just going to take you into the crowd for a minute and see what's going on here. Again, thank you everyone for tuning into Unicorn Riot. You can watch our live stream. We're multicast on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and live stream.
That would be on game.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @UR_ninja for more updates as we get more information about the teacher strike and other things we're following around the country. It's a huge march now. It seems we're circling around City Hall. I mean, they do definitely have enough people here. They could take the streets and completely circle City Hall. Based on how things are kind of playing out now, there is a possibility that the negotiating teams on both sides, the CTU and CPS, might be able to come up with some kind of arrangement this afternoon. It seems like the verbiage from both, we heard the mayor in her press conference today saying, basically implying she's willing to budge a little bit on some of the days, just all of them are non-starter. We heard Jesse Sharkey on his press conference just now, also kind of giving the verbiage, the CTU is a little bit willing that as long as we can get, I think he said most or many of the days made up. So their verbiage for the CTU also seems that they're willing to maybe adjust that number a little bit because they all want to get back to work. So if they can make that happen this afternoon, we may have an announcement later on today. And based on what I gathered from last night, so it is a tentative agreement with the stipulation that they make up these days. If they come to some kind of agreement with the days, I don't think the House of Delegates will necessarily have to meet for a yes vote to return to work. I'm not sure how that process works. The yes vote for last night may still stand true if they get this other stipulation. So that being the case, there's a stronger possibility than some of the other days that school may begin tomorrow. We don't know. We're going to find out more this afternoon. And right now the ball seems to be in the mayor's court. So yes, that's exactly what is happening. These thousands of CTU strikers and teachers are marching around City Hall, and there's so many of them filling up the street fully, making a complete ring around the street, City Hall. everyone. Thanks for joining Unicorn Riot this morning. If you're just tuning in, we're here in Chicago, Illinois, downtown. City Hall right behind us here. CTU members and strikers and teachers forming a ring around City Hall, taking the streets, thousands deep. I haven't seen an end to this line. It seems to be a complete line that goes all around City Hall. It goes all around City Hall. And just moments ago, there was a press conference here at the Thompson Center just across from City Hall where Jesse Sharkey, the CTU president, made some announcements and took some questions. If you weren't with us last night, we live streamed at the CTU headquarters where the House of Delegates met to vote on the agreement that the city had put forth yesterday. There was a majority vote of yes within the House of Delegates with one stipulation, and that being yes if the mayor agrees to make up the missed class days. And as of yesterday, it was 10. As of today, it's 11 missed class days. Mayor Lori Lightfoot got on her own press conference last night immediately afterward and said, absolutely no way will we make up these days. She didn't want to reward the teachers for going on strike, were her words. As the teachers and the CTU members, it's not about rewards to them. It's about they're afraid they're going to miss instructional time with their students. They have state requirements to meet, and that's what, from their perspective, it's all about. Today, the tone has changed from the mayor. All of a sudden, in her press conference, now with thousands of teachers in front of her office, she has said, well, all of the days is a non-starter. Returning or adding on all 10 or 11 days, not doing it. And she basically said some verbiage, giving the implication that she's willing to negotiate maybe on most or some of the days. Jesse Sharkey kind of had the president of the CTU had a similar verbiage today. His tone changed a little bit, saying, as long as the mayor will agree to most of those days, it's possible they may take the deal. So we're going to see here. So it seems like both sides' verbiage has softened a little bit today to make room for some negotiating on the last remaining sticking point, which is the missed days from the strike. So that's where we're at right now. We want to thank everyone for tuning into Unicorn Riot. We couldn't be here in Chicago bringing you this footage without viewer support from people like you. This is how we've grown. We don't have ads or commercials or on any of our stuff. We've relied on donations from day one and we've been able to grow and do better and better work and get better and better gear because of y'all and not because of corporate ad money. Now's the best time if you ever wanted to help us out. We're doing a year-end fundraiser. It's those $5 a month. It's going to get you free Unicorn Riot swag, a couple stickers, and a magnet, and a thank you card just as a thank you for being a sustaining donor of Unicorn Riot. And if you can't donate, we appreciate you as well. Keep sharing our work. Follow us on all your favorite social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope.
I just want to say, I was watching you a few days ago on Twitter, and you were interviewing a few of the students at our school. Yep. I just want to say I appreciate you guys coming out here because, I hadn't heard of Unicorn Riot before until I saw you guys on it came up on my Twitter, and one of our sophomores, you interviewed her, and I just thought that was really cool. So, the fact that you guys are out here is really fantastic.
Well, it was an honor to do it. So you're a teacher yourself?
I'm a student teacher, actually, at Lindblom. Okay. And back when the students were, they were inside of City Hall, I believe, there was a bus that went from Lindblom to City Hall, and it was that was something the students organized on their own. And so there was a huge Lindblom presence, and I'm glad that you guys were there to cover it. And literally one of our students, Essence, was. Do you remember her?
I've interviewed a lot of people. Yeah. I don't remember the name specifically. Okay.
But she had poofy hair.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just thought that was so cool that a student in my class, she's one of our geometry students, is took it upon herself to come here, and that you guys were here to cover it. So thank you so much for that.
It was my pleasure. I mean, hearing what some of those kids were saying literally blew my mind. Yeah. They know what's up, and adults like to treat kids like they don't know what's going on. And I heard some better statements from the kids that day than I've heard from adults on all the sides since I've been down here.
Yeah. So I appreciate you guys coming out here and doing the work that you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Do you want to say anything else about how you're feeling today?
Sure.
How are you feeling with what the mayor just said she might be willing to negotiate on some of these days?
I've been since I'm a student here, I'm hearing it from so I'm not officially, I feel like I'm a part of the union kind of, but I'm not officially. So I'm hearing a lot of things from the emails being forwarded to me, so I'm getting a sense of what's going on. My understanding is As far as like the instructional days being made up,
instructional days,
I work at I'm Jewish, so I work at a religious school, and one of my teacher's aides there is in AP classes, and they have strict like May something. Here's your AP US history test, and they're mandated to cover certain stuff at specific days. So if they miss 7 days, that's 7 days or 11 days at this point. That's 11 days they won't have back to take the US history test or to make whatever AP history test. So those are really important. Also, from my understanding, for every day that the teachers are not in class, that's an extra $10 million that is not being given to the teachers. So my understanding is that now the mayor's office has an extra $100 million that has not been given to the teachers. So the teachers don't want the mayor to think, oh, you didn't pay us, so that's a win for you. It's like, it's very weird. But at the same time, what Jesse was saying, 11 days is maybe not realistic. But same with 0. You can't, right now, they need to get some of those days back. It may not be all 11, but some of those would be crucial for the students. Because I don't think parents really want to send their kids into school until July. That doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, I mean, from my perspective, it seems both the mayor and Jesse kind of softened their tone about those instructional days.
Yeah.
Last night, the mayor said 0, and last night, Jesse was kind of implying all of them, and now they both seem... Are you optimistic that maybe some kind of agreement can be made this afternoon?
Yes. What I'm also a little concerned... I'm hoping... I really hope so, because tomorrow with the health insurance, it could get really dicey. Are you familiar with
COBRA? Is today the last day that the union has their health insurance?
There is tomorrow. If the mayor decided she wasn't going to give them health insurance, she could decide that. Okay. So Friday's a really crucial day, and I think that would just be even more of a disaster, and I don't know what would happen because, I mean, health insurance is like, luckily with being part of the union, you do get pretty good health insurance from my understanding, if tomorrow would be really dicey when it comes to that. So hopefully, Jesse seemed pretty even-keeled during his time speaking in front of everybody, because I was up there just hearing what he had to say, and he's meeting with her right now. Stacy wasn't there. I'm wondering if she was already there.
Right.
Yeah.
One more question for you, a little off those topics, but it's a very important topic that's been discussed.
Yeah.
So the issue of adequate prep time for teachers.
Yes.
That did not make it into this bargaining agreement, correct?
I did. Yeah. I was looking through actually Twitter's a great place because that's why I've been following a lot of this from like the CTU accounts and some of the teachers' accounts, and they posted the wins. The 30-minute extra prep time did not get in from my understanding. Now, what I think is important for the public to know is, and I'm on the side of the elementary school teacher, but I want the public to know that they do get an hour prep time, but they were fighting for an additional 30 minutes that from my understanding, ROM got rid of in the first place. So, as somebody who is student teaching right now, I can tell you there is so many things. Like, the public might think, oh, an hour is enough. It's like for elementary when you have. I'm middle school, high school, so I'm just doing one subject, math. But when you have English, science, social studies, writing, literacy, like printing out all those worksheets, grading, like all the prep time is super important. The public may not realize that because they might hear, oh, an hour's a lot, but all those worksheets, all the grading and all that stuff is also really crucial to being an effective teacher.
Well, I mean, regardless if the city gives them prep time or not, they're still doing that work.
Yes,
on unpaid time. I know teachers in other districts, it's common practice, and no worker should be unpaid for work they're supposed to do. Now, one thing I have heard from maybe opponents of this prep time issue is that, basically, like you said, they already have an hour to do it, and that hour is more than many other school districts in big cities across the country. However, from what I know about Chicago, this is my hometown, Chicago has always been very progressive in its policies for education, and those policies end up spreading to other cities, and they find out they're actually good for those cities. Yeah. Is that your experience with it?
So,
tell me about your.
Well, this is a nationwide issue. Like, I think people are starting to realize that. I mean, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Oklahoma. Those are the three ones that come to mind. Like, this is. I'm a very poor country who are not born to wealthy people, and like it's just a lack of prioritizing public education across the country. So when opponents say things like, "Oh, it's more than they have," well, those people should. That's not the great excuse, because those people should have more. Like kids, like it's Chicago Business, even like a business publication said that there was an article literally last night or came out this morning. They're actually not getting enough. Like there's actually more things. Like are the teachers actually not getting enough? And that was really awesome to see, because like all this like it's fighting for things that should be basic things. I grew up in a upper middle class suburb in upstate New York. Every single school had a nurse, every single school had a social worker, every single school had multiple school counselors. And like that was just a given. And so it shouldn't be like, yes, our district might already have an hour and they should have, but everybody should have an hour and a half. And it's just like, who are we prioritizing? Are we prioritizing the children of the wealthy? Are we giving money to real estate developers and all that stuff? Or are we giving it to students who are hoping to create a better future than the one that hoping to create a better future for all of us? Because and I'm already seeing, and that's what you saw with the students who came to City Hall. I mean, you're already seeing those are the change makers, and the people my age. I'm only 25, but like I feel like I'm really proud of what I'm doing here. But like at the end of the day, it's about them. It's not about me.
Hey, you're still young. Come on. You can make changes as a teacher in the system as well as a young teacher. Yeah. So don't discount yourself too much.
And I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for the kind words.
Yes.
Get back to your action here, and we'll see you later.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Both of you. Take care.
All right, so I'm just going to update new viewers just tuning in here. Thank you for tuning in to Unicorn Riot. We're here in downtown Chicago in front of the City Hall. You're seeing that building right in front of you here. Thousands and thousands of CTU teachers making a circle, taking the streets, marching around City Hall. And the reason they're doing that is, let me update you here. So last night there was a press conference. Last night there was a board or a House of Delegates meeting with the CTU. They were voting on the agreement, or voting on making an agreement with the latest proposal that the city had offered. There was a 60%, from what we're hearing this morning, a 60% majority yes vote, a yes to end the strike if, on the contingency that the mayor makes up the lost class days, which were, as of yesterday, were 10, today's 11. The mayor last night in a press conference said absolutely no, not making up any days. I'm not going to reward the teachers for going on strike, were her words. This morning, all these people met here at the Thompson Center, right in front of City Hall, thousands of teachers. And the mayor had given a press conference right before the CTU press conference, basically implying that she'd be willing to move on some of the made-up instructional days. What she said today, yesterday she said all the days for class to stretch into July. Yes, they see that's ridiculous. But 0 days of made-up instructional days for the kids is just as ridiculous. Hey, thank you so much. So Jesse Sharkey and the mayor and the other members of both of their bargaining teams are up in City Hall right now. And as soon as we hear anything, we're going to tell you. So make sure you follow and live stream. And we're only able to do multicast and be out here and upgrade our equipment and make sure we have the time to commit to all this and research and everything to be done because of viewer support like you. We don't take ad money. We don't take any money but donation money from our supporters. And it keeps us to be able to do what Unicorn Riot gifts, a magnet, a couple stickers, a thank you card. If you go to our website, unicornriot.ninja, there's a little banner at the top that says keep us growing into 2020. Click that. It'll show you how to donate. Also, our donation ask should be pinned to like our Facebook comments in the description there on Twitter. So you can find it there as well. We thank you so much. And back to the action here in downtown Chicago. Oh, it is Halloween. My goodness. It's a snowy Halloween. I didn't even realize. Been so busy.
I think the snow is increasing. I'm pretty sure.
Let's move. We're sorry. I don't know. I just realized her data was tanking. I think that's fine. folks, sorry if the stream was being interrupted there. We were getting some data droppage. We apologize for that. We try our best to make sure we bring you the best quality signal we can. In big cities, it can be difficult, and again, signal bouncing off the towers. There's dead zones in all cities, so if that.
Sorry to interrupt you guys.
Teachers get help.
Yeah, the spirit.
Wait, unicorn ride's coming through.
Unicorn ride coming through. We are a nonprofit media collective, and so we don't take ad money. We get donations so we can cover what we want to cover and what people want to cover. That's why we're out here in the streets with y'all. I do. Anybody?
Yes. No.
One word. Anybody? What are your feelings this morning?
I don't even know. Right here.
What's the feel? What's in the air this morning? What are you guys feeling?
Oh, I feel defeated.
You feel defeated?
Yeah. But that's me.
The majority of our school voted for
We
this.
voted no.
You
voted no.
right.
I want to keep going, so that's just me.
What is the main issue that wants you to keep going? Like what didn't you get?
That's not the point. We finished negotiating, and then we were ready to go back to school today. The mayor would not let us back in and said that she will not make up the days. So she's offering a great contract with a big raise, but then we're going to take a pay cut for this year in order to get that raise. At the end of the day, you end up nowhere. But we have negotiated. We don't need to go back to the negotiating tables, what she invited everybody to do today at her press conference.
That makes sense.
So there's that opinion.
Okay.
So there's one side of it, I guess. I didn't get a raise.
You didn't get a raise, huh?
Yeah.
So that would actually, you didn't get a raise and you would get less pay this year, is how it would work out.
Oh,
yeah. But
yes.
we would also lose 2 weeks' pay for this year.
Right.
So do the math. That's
like thousands per teacher, right?
What about?
Wait, are you a math teacher? I don't want to get into it.
Yes, that's correct. Why?
So I know the health insurance thing can be tricky. Was that ending tomorrow or what?
Well, there was
a little unclear on that.
I don't think there was even mention of that. Like, I don't think health insurance actually was ending. They would have to notify us.
So that was kind of maybe a scare tactic a few days ago because I haven't heard anything more about it.
I think it was. You're right. I think it was a scare tactic. I believe.
The mayor to stop the insurance, otherwise it would naturally go into COVID.
You would have to get some notice though, right?
Yes.
And you have not gotten that notice. You're not going to cut it off like without a notice. Okay, that's heartening.
I know that there's 2 teachers at an elementary school though, that are pregnant and they were getting induced this week because they were nervous about not having insurance next week. Like that's how seriously they're taking it. Yeah.
Speaking of elementary teachers, I know the issue of prep time has been contentious, and that did not make it into this bargaining agreement, correct?
Yeah. Right, it did not. And we're not elementary, we're actually high school, but still, like,
are standing.
I can't believe,
they get one prep the whole day.
Right. And they're still doing the prep, but on their own time, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, coming in early.
Right.
Yeah, which, I mean, a lot of us do, but you can't count on that. That's not fair. That's our time. But not everybody can do that. Some people have kids.
Stacy's right there.
Things they have to do.
Sorry.
Who's walking along the wall?
Who is?
Stacy.
Oh, really? Well, thank you for talking to us.
Oh, yeah,
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry I wasn't really much helpful, but the other guys that have really take on it, like...
different opinions, you know.
Yeah. We're not defeated. Maybe that was just how I feel also.
That's understandable.
I just feel like it's not finished.
Not finished.
It was a sellout.
Well, it wasn't finished in 2012 from when I was here, I remember in the interviews I did then.
Yeah. So, and we have no option for deferred payments, like all these other things that it's just,
it doesn't quite feel worth it.
If you look at the,
So what you gained out of this doesn't necessarily make it feel worth it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it just kind of feels like a chump a little bit. Like we put in all this suffering. We don't have a lot to show for it, and I would do it again, but I want more to show for it.
What was, when the strike first started, when you decided to go to strike, what was your main motivation? Like, I got to get out there, I got to do this.
I would say class size.
Class size?
Yeah, for me especially, like when you have 42 students in a room, that's ridiculous. Like, that's not normal, no matter what anyone says. No matter what they say, it's not normal.
Like, classes in our school with kids sitting on the floor because there weren't enough chairs and stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have
like
that.
my colleagues. It's crazy. So that was a huge one, but I feel like the list was so long. There's so many things. And it's just like every opportunity, every time a contract's up, it's like, okay, we need to address these things and see how we can change them. So it's just a vicious cycle because every time the contract sucks, and then we have to start over again and do this when the new contract comes up. So it's never ending. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Take care.
Really? It doesn't matter. No, let's go away from where we dropped your signal, Heather.
Have you seen anybody else from here?
All right, again, I want to thank everyone for tuning into Unicorn Ride today. Downtown Chicago, 11th day of missed classes during the CTU strike. Just going to be silent for a little while, let you guys enjoy and see what's going on here.
You tell me.
Just came right up, got on the train. No help or assistance needed.
And you are watching Unicorn Riot. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. We are multicasting on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and live stream. So you can follow us on your social of choice. Make sure you like and subscribe and whatnot on whatever that is, so you can get notifications of when we go live. And don't forget to share these broadcasts if it's something you're seeing that's important to you or important to others. That's how we can help get our media out there. It's because of you. Thank you. And don't forget to check out our website as well, where all of our stories and live streams and everything in one nice little package. That's unicornriot.ninja. Unicornriot.ninja. And there's a banner towards the top that says help keep us growing to 2020. If you want to become a sustaining donor during our fundraiser, I get some free gifts. Check that out. It's so helpful. It's the only way we do this. And for all you people with, hey, you got Bitcoin laying around, we take that too. We also happily accept Bitcoin. We know how to utilize that, so, or any other type of cryptocurrency. You just got it sitting around, you don't know what to spend it on. This is independent media is a great way to spend your crypto. We will be very thankful. So again, here in downtown Chicago, we've got thousands of CTU members, strikers, and allies marching around City Hall. Mayor Lori Lightfoot, her team, and Jesse Sharkey, the CTU president, and his team are up there now. I'm imagining the people marching around City Hall are hoping that sometime soon, or in the next hour or two, that Jesse and the team will come down here with an announcement that they've reached a deal as far as a return to work deal. Again, the sticking point they're upstairs negotiating is they're not negotiating the contract. The contract agreement was voted yes, as far as everything that could be put in a contract last night, with the stipulation that the mayor make up instructional days that were missed from the strike. So that's more that goes into the return to work agreement, which has been a standard practice in the last two teacher strikes in Illinois, not part of the contract negotiations. So now the mayor and even the local press were drilling Jesse about, hey, why did you bring this up at the last minute? Why are you moving the bar? And the mayor keeps saying the CTU's moving the bar. Again, the missed class days were not part of the contract negotiations. It's when a contract is agreed upon, the return to work agreement, then that is when that's discussed. So we're getting mixed, false messages from the mayor as far as precedent. That being said, we're going to come over here to the Thompson Center, going to dry up our equipment. I'm going to give you a full update in just a sec here, folks.
Which train are you catching?
You want to get back there where you're dry and like. So I think we're going to take the stream down here in just a moment, folks. We're still going to be here. We're still going to bring you the coverage. We're still going to keep you updated. We're just going to keep the stream down, get our equipment dry. We're human. We need to eat and rest ourselves. It's been a long week out here bringing you coverage of the CTU strike. So let me give you an update of the last 24 hours. So yesterday, the city and the negotiating team with CTU came to a came up with a proposal that the CTU members agreed to take to their Board of Delegates. They convened the Board of Delegates last night to meet and vote yes or no whether to return to work and end the strike based on the agreement proposed by the city. So last night we were live. If you missed it, you can check it out on our past broadcasts. And basically 60% from what I'm hearing, Jesse was saying, about 60% of the House of Delegates, which is the majority needed, voted yes on the proposal from the city, with the stipulation that in the return to work agreement, they make up some of these lost instructional days. As of yesterday, it was 10 missed days. Today is the 11th missed day. Last night in a press conference, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, immediately after the CTU announcement, said absolutely no way is she going to reward the teachers for going on strike by adding days at the end of the year. We did hear one teacher say that, yes, the 2 weeks they're missing, that's 2 weeks out of their pay. So to some teachers, it's pay. That was literally the one teacher I've heard say that. Every other teacher I've talked to, it's the missed days is more about the missed instructional days for the students. They have state curriculums and various requirements to meet, and some schools are different. They have more requirements for their specific students. How you doing? So that is why they want those added instructional days. So the tone has changed this morning. Lori Lightfoot held a press conference knowing that all these CTU strikers are going to be here at City Hall. She held a preemptive press conference in which today her tone has changed, saying all made-up instructional days is a no-starter. So she's leaving the room open to negotiate on maybe some of the instructional days. Jesse Sharkey held a press conference here at the Thompson Center about an hour or so ago after the mayor, and his tone has also changed a little bit. He said, listen, the 11 days missed now, if we added those on, we realize that would be ridiculous for parents and students to stretch school into July. However, 0 days for the union is also equally ridiculous, they said. So the union, where they stand right now, they're up their stairs negotiating with that. 0 is not good, and they realize the full amount that they were saying is also not realistic. So based on the two tones from the mayor's team and from the CTU, it is highly possible they may be able to come to agreement, and possibly even quickly. We don't know, because this is not a contract agreement. This is part of the return to work. So if they can get that agreement made, they can get the return to work agreement starting to roll, meaning the proposal is accepted if the mayor agrees that. We could be back, they could be back at school tomorrow if we can hear early enough from the negotiations. So some people are optimistic, but then again, the way this has been going over the last week and a half, anything could happen. So make sure you continue to follow us on the ground, Unicorn Riot. That's unicornriot.ninja is our website. Follow us on your favorite social media of choice. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to follow us on Twitter, that's where you can get up-to-the-minute updates and things you maybe are not seeing on our live streams. It's UR_Ninja. That's at UR_Ninja on Twitter. And please, again, we can only be out here because of viewer support from you. We're holding a year-end fundraiser right now for as little as $5 a month. Become a sustaining donor. We're going to send you some free gifts just as a thank you, because we really appreciate it. We cannot do it without you. Any more you can give is wonderful. If you can't give the $5, maybe $2 a month. You know, that's all of it adds up, and it's how we've been able to grow this organization over the last 5 years. We're nonprofit, ad-free. We don't take money from anybody but donations, and that leaves us free to cover what we want and where we want. We have 12 full members of our group right now, and we are our own bosses. We're doing something unique in the media world. So we're out here because Lorenzo and I wanted to come out here and cover. Our group lets us come out here and do it, and we pool the donation money that you send us to be able to get the gear and the time to come out here and do it. That's how we're doing this. It's because of you. So we thank you so much. And if you can't donate, we appreciate you too. Share, like our stuff. If you don't want to donate, that's completely okay. Maybe you don't like our stuff and you're just watching us because you don't like what's going on here. That's fine. We want this message shared. That's what we're out here to do. We're an educational nonprofit. We're out here to share what is going on and give you a perspective that the mainstream media isn't going to give you. So again, I'm John. I've been your host today. Lorenzo's on the camera. We got Jen. Thank you very much, Jen, for producing our live stream on the back end. And Andrew, I think, was helping out a little bit too. We really appreciate you guys at home. For John from Unicorn Riot, I'm going to check out for now. We could be live any moment, so please stay tuned. If we get an announcement, we're going to go right back up live. So stay tuned. Thank you very much.